Hello everybody and welcome back to the Red Bull Ring in Austria for the new title Grand Prix, the Styrian Grand Prix. The first time ever we've had back-to-back events at the same racetrack. Formula One hasn't left. But last weekend we had the first opening race and boy was it dramatic. Let's take a look at the drivers and the Constructors' Championship coming into round two. It's the second round of the season and the first of two currently confirmed double-header events. Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring. Next weekend we are off again, this time over to Hungary before a week's break and 3 races in a row once again, with the British Grand Prix and the 70th anniversary Grand Prix both taking part at Silverstone. A week later the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona in mid-August. A week's break and then it's Belgium and the Italian Grand Prix. In the Drivers' Championship, Valtteri Bottas leads the way on 25 points after taking victory last weekend. Charles Leclerc is second, Lando Norris third, Lewis Hamilton is fourth, Carlos Sainz in fifth, Sergio Perez sixth, seventh for Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon eighth, Giovinazzi's ninth, and Vettel rounds out the top 10. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes lead the way, 37 points. They are 11 clear of McLaren in second. Ferrari are third on 19. Racing Point, AlphaTauri, Renault and Alfa Romeo all have points on the board. Yet to score points are both the Williams, Haas and, surprisingly, Red Bull. It's the newly named Styrian Grand Prix and this is your Thursday weekend preview. And alongside me this weekend to talk through all of the action is Ian Birch. Hello, Dad.
Controversial subject.
Yes, loads to talk through. And it's going to be a good one.
I am Fernando.
Yes, I was going to start with that. Fernando Alonso has been announced that he's returning to Formula One. The 2005 and 2006 world champion has signed a 2-year deal with Renault to be £15 million per season. And there are rumours that there's a contract going off elsewhere, but he's there to partner Esteban Ocon as Daniel Ricciardo moves to McLaren. That sort of shuts the door for Sebastian Vettel. But first of all, Dad, what do you make of all of this?
He's gone back to his championship winning team.
Yep.
Fernando really went to get the Triple Crown. He's got 2 of him.
Yep. Hasn't got the 500 yet.
Interesting thing is that McLaren, right? Zach has, he's always promoted Fernando.
Yep.
Right, giving him the chance to do IndyCar. McLaren have their own IndyCar team
This season.
and yet he's walked away from them. So does that mean he's giving up on the Triple Crown?
Well, that's the thing. Right now it's confirmed that he's doing it with McLaren, but that is still in flux. The official entry list for the 500 hasn't yet been confirmed. But we do know that Alonso's walked away, and we don't know whether or not
He was
going
doing
back.
well at the Brickyard.
He was.
Until the engine failure.
Yep. And then last year, unfortunately, didn't qualify. But that was the car issue because it wasn't ready.
They took 1 week and 2 days to produce the car.
Yeah.
Because they were going to get one off the peg, and then they decided it wasn't good enough.
And
they should have gone for it, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they really should have.
Last year he didn't even qualify, so it doesn't even count.
No, it doesn't count. He's only raced officially once.
He didn't qualify for the race.
Yeah.
Right.
Alonso left F1 the end of 2018, as you said, to go into the Triple Crown. He's got Le Mans twice. He's doing Indy possibly. Is this a return to Formula One for a world championship, or is it more just for the pleasure of driving?
I feel that Fernando, for the last 8 years, has just been doing it for the pleasure of driving. The man does not need any money.
No, he doesn't. No.
He has secured his little protege a ride for Ferrari.
Yep, Carlos Sainz. He's off there.
Carlos is brilliant. But between what Carlos's dad has learned him about driving, who's a world champion, and his uncle in brackets, right, Fernando, Sainz is one of those drivers that is non-controversial, which Ferrari like.
Yep.
And he can have a laugh, which they've got a young kid in the team
with Lando,
that needs a laugh after
Charles Leclerc,
Charles the deaths in his
Yeah.
his family and that, and including in Formula One.
Yep.
Right, in his extended family, as he needs to loosen up a bit.
Yes. I think that was clear after this weekend. He was very miserable in the press conferences.
He's always been miserable because the kid has been through an awful lot. Right? People think that these guys don't have normal lives, but they do. And everybody must see, right? Even last year, the guy he used to share a room with at school,
yes, with Anton Hubert, yeah,
was also killed. You know, the guy.
He's gone through an awful lot in the past 10 years.
He needs someone like Carlos who can. Carlos. And
he's
Lando,
afraid of physicals, but he was in the
Carlos
same
and
categories.
Lando are amazingly brilliant. They're like Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Was.
When he was with Red Bull, and he's sort of
with Verstappen.
Yeah.
Right. I loved the throwing of the axes.
Oh, a couple of years ago in Hungary, yes.
Where if Max could not throw an axe into the piece of wood on Sky, and for the life of him,
and then immediately,
every single time Danny Rick got it.
He's had practice. He's had a lot of practice.
Did you see?
Yes,
the best thing is, right, on one of, I don't know if anybody saw it on one of the clips of what they've been doing in pre-season on their social media, right? Danny Rick has been doing a lot of football, and he did one with a tennis ball, and he kicked this he turned round and round, and then kicked this tennis ball, and someone was leaving in one of these little golf buggy things with a back on it that the farmers use, and the ball sailed perfectly into the ute.
Oh,
you know, it was brilliant. He really. He wouldn't do that again.
No,
in a
not in a million
years.
years.
Yeah.
It was just once in a lifetime thing. I think I have seen it actually. Now you said it. Yeah.
Rosberg would have been proud of that.
Yes. Nico,
Rosberg loved his football.
Nico, I think, is coming into Sky F1 at the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Why? I don't understand. Sorry.
Brittany.
We can't call him that.
His hair went back actually during the lockdown
to Brittany?
Yeah, the really long blonde hair was back. The 2005
He's got long blonde hair. He has. He's really, really long blonde hair. Then, like mine, it was all cut off.
It's also been
My
rumoured.
wife did mine. I wonder if his wife did his.
Don't know. Well, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've all had haircuts in the past couple of weeks.
She did his and all.
I know. I'm starting to think it looks a little bit lopsided.
She's going to do this bit because his hair's gone down here.
Yes, I know. I was supposed to look nice for television, but I suppose that'll have to stay for this weekend.
On TV?
Yeah.
I won't tell any of the jokes then.
No. Just quick. It's been just going back to the Fernando Alonso bit. It's been rumoured also that he could take on more of a managerial role past the 2 seasons of driving. Is he going to be team principal in 2023 for Renault?
I doubt it. But
yeah.
I think he'll take a role where he can learn how to become a team principal in the end.
I'm going to say something that wasn't on the script here. I've just had a thought.
He runs a script.
Yeah, believe it or not, he runs his own. It's on my iPad. He runs his own junior karting division, his own racing series. We've seen that. Is it possible he could just make his own Formula One team? That's something that he could do. We've seen other drivers do it.
Of course, that's possible, but it's an awful lot of money. And
yeah.
Even for Fernando, the amount of money it chews up, he would more than likely go with a different sponsor. He would go that route. Right, he's not Toto.
No, he can't afford to do it on his own.
Toto got a hold, and Lance Stroll got a hold
of
when
Aston.
It was easy. No. Even in the past,
when
it was easy to do that. Now a lot of the teams are works teams.
Yeah, quite a lot of them this year.
Williams is up for sale though.
Williams is up for sale. He could buy Williams actually. That's just something. Fernando could put a large stake into Williams. That's a possibility. Frank and him do get along quite well, and so does him and Claire. Just quick, thank you for that for now. We'll get back to you soon. We'll have to talk more about that in practice over the weekend. Is that right?
What?
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear it either.
Thanks, Dad, for now. Right, let's go back a week ago. 7 days we were here in Austria for the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Now, we've got a new toy this year to play with. It's called the Digital Pad. You saw it a bit last year when Megan and me sort of used it at the Japanese Grand Prix, but we've refined it a lot more and it works this time. So let's take a look back at the technical aspect and have some more analysis at the Digital Pad of the Austrian Grand Prix. So let's take a look then at that controversial qualifying for Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Now, we can't show the onboard, but we can show the live timing and the telemetry. So we've opened up battle mode, and on this we have Valtteri Bottas, who's currently first at 102.939, and Lewis Hamilton in second place. We have the throttle, the rev, the brake, and what gear they are in as well. Now, Bottas starts his lap, full throttle, uphill to turn 1. He's got Lando Norris in front of him, quite a distance. Hamilton, there's a gap, but we've got Ricciardo and Albon behind as Lance Stroll decided to go into the pit lane. So up to turn 2, completing the first sector, Bottas has an okay sector 1. He goes green, a personal best. Hamilton crosses that point now, and he has an okay first sector. He's down just a few tenths. Now, this is the interesting part. Notice we've got 10 seconds left. Bottas comes uphill towards turn 4, hits the brake, and it's at this point here at the exit. He gets on the gravel, and you see the throttle bar go down. This point, he's fighting the car, and he's off and out of control. The yellow flag comes through. Hamilton at no point lifts. In fact, he increases RPM and increases at full throttle. Then he brakes when he's well past. Ricciardo and Albon, as Bottas is off the track, going nowhere. Both lift off. They don't improve. Hamilton kept full throttle and kept full RPM and even went personal best in the second sector, exactly where he was. Comes across the line, he sets a fastest third sector and goes second overall, improves his time up to a 102.951. Ricciardo behind doesn't improve, and neither does Alexander Albon behind, who stays in 5th place. Bottas gets going, crawls back to the pits, and at this point, the checkered flag was already out, and he knows that he's on pole position. Quite controversial, but Hamilton, for there, deserved a penalty. There was clearly a yellow flag out on the telemetry. You would have got that message on the dashboard of the car, so it's a clear penalty. Why the stewards didn't find this out early in the investigation, we just don't know. Okay, now let's look at some race analysis, and we'll start with the driver currently in second place of Max Verstappen, lap 11 of the race, and his car just cutting out completely during the Grand Prix. Turns into turn 1, full brakes, 7th gear, and then at the exit, he's just got no throttle and no power. The gearbox immediately just goes down. He's cutting into first gear. He's gone into anti-stall, and Hamilton get past his teammate Albon, Norris, Perez, and what have you. But his sector times were good on his last lap. Still not good compared to Valtteri Bottas, but a 109.951, and all of a sudden the car just cut out. He does manage to get it back to the pit lane, but at this point you can see hemorrhaging positions left, right, and centre. We've got Gasly coming by now, so already he's dropped down to 12th place. Latifi was running in 20th, quite far back. He was just at turn 1. Bottas, you can already see now the gap as he enters turn 7. Hamilton's still coming round turn 5. So Bottas had a monumental gap to Hamilton before, obviously, everyone started dropping out. We had the first safety car, which triggered all the pit stops. But Verstappen, ideally, the car, now as you can see, he got full throttle back up, but the gears weren't changing, the revs weren't working, the throttle was dipping in and out, and he's still kicking in. It was his afternoon done, unfortunately. Max Verstappen became the first retirement. The next driver to be eliminated from a very chaotic Austrian Grand Prix was Danny Ricciardo. Now you can already see coming out of the hairpin of turn 4, the car not operating at full power already. He's got the throttle, but the revs are very low and he's stuck in third gear. I mentioned that in the commentary as well. At this point, we can see he was in a battle with Stroll and Vettel. Gasly's got past Kvyat as well. At this point, he's in limp home mode. So already, Renault not having a great afternoon as Ricciardo became the first retirement. His teammate Esteban Ocon would go on to the points in 8th place. But Ricciardo manages to get it back to the pit lane. But in quick succession, we knew that Lance Stroll also was having issues. As you can see, on the same lap, if I just sort my graphics out, Sebastian Vettel gets past, but Stroll was having engine issues at the same time. So Sebastian Vettel now gets past, and it's at this point you can tell that this Racing Point really does have a terminal problem. Vettel's gone through as well. The gap was up here eventually, about a second Stroll had after Ricciardo bowed out. And look at the gap, Vettel's just going away automatically. The first sector, an 18.919. So it's all right, but it is terminal. The full power throttle is taking a lot to get out there. You can see he's at full throttle. Look how slowly the revs are rising compared to that of another Mercedes engine. So realistically, Stroll had to pit, and eventually he did retire, and his issue was that of a sensor problem, which then alerted the Mercedes team as well. So the next incident and on track brought out the first safety car. Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen were in for a battle. Ocon, you can see, brakes later. Magnussen on no throttle, full on brake, but the revs dropping down, still rising up, and at this point he's had a brake failure and sent right off into the back. Suspension issue as well caused the problem. Ocon goes through, but Magnussen is now stuck. He's absolutely stuck in that part of the track. So the yellow flag is brought out. Now we were thinking the commentary, it's going to be a virtual safety car or a full course safety car as well. But what we didn't expect was what actually happened next. As we minimise the barrier, is that the full safety car does come out. With Magnussen's car stuck at turn 3, they need to bring on a truck. So if we look at this, Bottas is just rounding turn 6, Hamilton's behind as the safety car is officially called. Now we're thinking, okay, there's the safety car. Who's going to catch it? Well, Esteban Ocon immediately has to go to the safety car control line, and that holds him up, it holds Giovinazzi, and it holds Russell up, as they have caught the safety car and now have to go slow. But they're, of course, let past the safety car. So at this point, Mercedes pull a masterstroke. They haven't pitted yet. Neither has Alexander Albon, who's up here with a sensor issue at turn 5. So into the pit lane. Now that comes Valtteri Bottas, and they're going to double stack because in comes Lewis Hamilton as well. He pits from second place. Bottas gets a tyre change. Latifi decides to go straight on, as does Raikkonen. Hamilton's just come into the pit lane. So now we're thinking, okay, who's going to be next? Well, if we open up the battle mode once again, we're going to highlight Norris and Perez, because they were the next two in. As you can see, into the pit lane, the monitor goes on, full brake, and up to only 80 kilometres an hour. So Norris comes in, and unfortunately it's not going to show you what we think. Here go the pit. But they've done 25 laps on the soft each. But as we know what happened, Norris comes out of the pit lane and Perez gets released in front of him. The team were fined for that unsafe release. So if we minimise the battle mode once again, full course yellow, safety car out, Grosjean decides to continue, Sebastian Vettel comes into the pit lane, Gasly comes in, he double stacks with Kvyat, and Ocon can now finally get to the pit lane as well, which has been waiting for a couple of laps. Norris has come back out just ahead of Sergio Perez, who are Leclerc and Sainz. Bottas and Hamilton keep the 1-2. So after the first safety car, Bottas, Hamilton, Albon, Norris, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Vettel, Gasly and Kvyat round out the top 10. But Vettel, as you can see, a long way behind 6th place of Charles Leclerc as well. But when the green flag went back out, it was clear running for only a couple more laps. Lap 51 of the race, and drama for George Russell as well as Romain Grosjean. Grosjean at this point had already gone off the track at turn 4, and his car was in a bad way, constantly cutting out as well, and he was going a lap down. Grosjean would retire, but at the same time, it was an engine failure for George Russell that this weekend we now know has brought him into having to use a second power unit issue. But the car coming to complete stop, it is stuck in third gear, no power going to it at all. He decides that's it, pull it off. He pulls it off just in front of the race leaders of Bottas and Hamilton. Grosjean's in the pit lane, he's out of the race, and so is George Russell. Now that creates a yellow flag, and that is going to cause another safety car. So the strategy would be, well, is anyone going to come into the pit lane? Who's going to react? And when is the safety car going to be thrown? Well, the safety car is located here at the pit lane. Now that can be deployed, as it has been deployed, and that has now caught Bottas and Hamilton out. Now I said in the commentary, if you wanted to change your tyres and go onto a fresher set, as we were only on lap 51 at the time, 20 laps to go, easily put a set of the softs on and go to the end of the race. Bottas and Hamilton won the hard compound tyre. Now, unfortunately, They got the call that the safety car was out just after the pit lane exit. You've got to commit to the pit lane at this point of the track, turn 8 and 9. So Bottas and Hamilton have to go around and they catch the safety car. They lose that 13-second advantage. Lando Norris decides to come into the pit lane as well. He decides the gamble is worth taking. But Bottas and Hamilton have got caught up behind the safety car. They have now got to go the whole rest of the lap as everyone's going to get a free pit stop out of this. And they're all going to start changing the tyres. So, answer as Kvyat comes in. Esteban Ocon continues as well. Raikkonen comes into the pit lane as well. Sebastian Vettel limping through. I believe he comes into the pit lane as well. He does. And so a few tyre strategies going to work out. Lando Norris just glitching in and out. But the safety car has already caught out Bottas and Hamilton. And that means as well it's going to catch up Perez, as who hasn't pitted. Albon has pitted. But Albon goes ahead as well as Perez just behind here. So yeah, really bad situation for Mercedes. They got caught out in that second safety car and couldn't pit, even though they were going to bring them through the pit lane later on. But that's the next safety car just after this one. So lap 54, the safety car decides to come in, and we've highlighted Kimi Raikkonen as to what is about to happen to him. So the safety car comes in, Bottas leaves it very, very late to do the restart, but immediately, you can see Raikkonen is just ahead of Sebastian Vettel there, and watch, immediately, bang, out goes the throttle. Now, in the commentary box, we saw that a yellow flag was brought out as Bottas and Hamilton were racing up towards turn 1. Little did we know that Raikkonen had actually had a problem and stopped out on the track. He'd lost his front tyre. Now, we highlighted Albon, but unfortunately his graphic is sort of glitched, so I'll explain it better as we minimise the map. Up here towards turn 3, Albon slips up the inside of Perez, and then immediately the safety car is called. But Albon was ahead of Sergio Perez before that safety car was called again. So Albon was able to retake third position away from Sergio Perez because it was a firm move. Look, it's just swapping on the graphic here. The safety car is deployed. Raikkonen stuck at the start-finish straight area due to losing a tyre, and immediately it brings out the third safety car of the afternoon on lap 55 of 71. I think we all know what happens on lap 61. The green flag is back out and the race is underway. Now, unfortunately, Alexander Albon's telemetry is not working properly, so we can't show you what his graphic was showing, but I'll explain as we go along. Hamilton coming down the back straight. He's got Alexander Albon right on the back of him. He made a great exit. And just watch the throttle response. We come into turn 4 and Hamilton. He brakes. Now slowly gets on the power, and there's the accident, and immediately after, bang, straight on the throttle. Hamilton and Albon goes down the order. Hamilton deserving that 5-second time penalty because he was drifting out. The car just started to drift into Albon. Albon was ahead. He should have had the room. Hamilton left him no room. The steering wheel works both ways. He could have turned it a little bit more. Hamilton didn't. He kept a straight die on it. And in my opinion, a little bit sneaky, and Hamilton deserves the 5-second penalty, but there was no malice intended. But I want to talk about that stellar last lap from Lando Norris. And at this point, as you know, Alexander Albon retired from the race with telemetry issues, the same went for Danny Kvyat after he had a tyre blowout at the back. But if we open up Lando Norris's race strategy run, as you can see, it's lap 71 of the race now, and the checkered flag comes out. He's done a stellar second sector, 29.982. Third sector was at 20.170. The best lap of the race, the fastest, 107.475. Now, he was 4.8 seconds inside the time of Lewis Hamilton, as you can see on the map. So that demoted Hamilton to 4th place, and that was great news for Charles Leclerc as well. Leclerc got 2nd and Lando Norris got 3rd. It dropped Hamilton to 4th. So a very well-deserved top 3 of Bottas, Leclerc and Norris. Nicholas Latifi in 11th place was very disappointed. He was a moderate gap away to Sebastian Vettel but couldn't improve. But Vettel gets a very unlikely point to this Grand Prix as well after having such a miserable qualifying. But a very well-deserved race here today as well. Around the Red Bull Ring, it's Bottas, Leclerc and Norris, the top 3 for the first round of the season. Wonderful piece of technology. It's just in there. I can see it right now if I look just ever so slightly. It is the commentary box as well, and loving the new features. Now, Dad, you've went through in your little notebook there of all through the race. You were at race control, talking through as everything as well.
Teddy and Sebastian have a notebook.
Yes.
So
You've got
bought
one.
me one.
I did. I gave you one.
Yeah, you bought me one.
So
When are you going to give me your mum the money?
I think I already did. I'm
Did
not
you?
too sure.
Possibly not.
Possibly not. No. Sorry, man.
Right. Anyway,
Yeah. So, what do you notice something about the Mercedes early in the session as well? Because they were in the race, they were told to keep off the curbs after Stroll had his sensor issue.
well,
And you heard something
DC
else.
has been saying
Yeah.
about the fact that is it a problem with the heat? It was pretty hot in Austria last week.
It was 40 degrees.
Right.
Wish it was
And-
here.
And the dark-coloured cars, and Mercedes have gone from silver to black
Yes, the paint
for
does heat
Black
it up.
Lives Matters,
Yeah.
right? Did that cause the heat? Black absorbs heat, right? Red Bull have a matte system instead of a gloss to try and
Yeah.
counteract that. But it was interesting that everybody was overheating their sensors in the gearbox.
11 retirements in the end.
Now
Of
that could be one of a couple of reasons. I mean, the other reason could be the fact that there wasn't a lot of wind.
No, there wasn't. It was high
So-
altitude as well.
The cars were gulping the air and things like that. And I know that Rosanna Tennant has discussed it with Rob
Yeah.
Smedley, and there's a number of reasons it could be, but definitely the sensors on at least 8 cars was not working right, and they knew this. Toto knew this before the start of the race. It was one of about 3 different problems. 2 of them sensors that he had to deal with during the race, and of course he hasn't got Nicky to
help
bounce off
Yeah.
now. And there was also an interesting thing on the safety car when they all pitted.
Yeah.
Right. Lewis has requested the opposite tyres to everyone else, and especially Valtteri.
He was on the hard tyres at the time, and did you see he wanted?
But he wanted to go on the softs. Right. Now the interesting thing is here, if he'd have gone on the softs, right, the incident that cost him the 5-second penalty
with Albon.
would never have happened because Albon was on the softs.
Yeah.
Right? He obviously saw Albon as the one that was going to come up and challenge him and Valtteri. So he wanted to go on the same as Albon, which was the softs. Right? And if he'd have been on the softs, the thing was, the extra momentum that those softs were giving
Would have helped him get the advantage.
gave Alex Albon the ability to get
Close enough to-
alongside
yeah.
him and then ahead of him, because he was on the hard on the inside corner, and Albon had the momentum of the corner by taking it wider, and that would never have happened if Mercedes don't make these mistakes.
No.
Yes, they have.
They've made one here.
They made one here that has cost Lewis a penalty and cost Lewis a podium.
Now, I'm going to pick up on that as well, because we saw in the technical analysis just a couple of minutes ago, no, you haven't seen it, but I pointed out on the touch screen that...
Lewis did radio that.
Yeah.
That's where I got
what
it
we
from.
heard, yeah.
I got it from what Lewis radioed and what was said afterwards.
Now, when the incident that was I think that was Kevin... No, that was George Russell. That was Russell's safety
Russell
car
had
moment. Yeah, when his engine
Yeah.
blew. Now, when the safety car was called... Hamilton and Bottas were at turn 8, just before the pit entrance at turn 9. So that was just before. Now, the safety car got called and Hamilton went on the radio. But Mercedes, the 13-second gap that the safety car creates, Mercedes got caught up behind the safety car
They're on a
and
rack
everyone else
here.
pitted. Yeah.
The tyres are on a rack here.
Yeah.
They're already in their
It should have been easy to call.
Should have been absolutely easily done.
Yeah, it should have happened as well. And another thing I want to pick up on that about as well is if I just think about what we were talking about a second ago with Alexander Albon.
Well, like, where's Megan?
Yeah, Megan's not here this weekend, by the way, so she's working on, as I did mention last week on the Thursday preview, she's working, so we won't say that much, but she'll be back next week for Hungary as well. But as I was saying, yeah, so...
Kid gets a lot of stuff from school.
And she's got to do it, yeah.
And it's a good school. It's come a long way, that school.
Yeah. So, she's not here this weekend.
And she's a workaholic.
Yeah. So we're surprised she's not here. But if we went up and talked to her right now, she'd probably have a go at us. But yeah, just saying about the tyre strategy as well.
I'm looking here. 11 cars finished.
Yeah, 11 cars. But that was the problem. Hamilton and Bottas won the slower tyres. Albon, Perez and Norris were all on the faster tyres. They should have pitted. They didn't. Half the field did pit.
What a great race Lando did.
Lando was amazing.
Rob Smedley said that it was a very mature drive.
Yeah.
I think it's like although he's the biggest clown on the circuit, off circuit,
yeah,
on the circuit, he's a very mature, and him and Jensen come from the same part of the country, roughly.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Right, and I think there's a lot of Jensen in him.
There is, isn't there? There's his
He's
driving.
Cool.
Yeah. There's a lot about Nat Lando.
It's cold.
It is cold here, so yeah, that's why we've got jackets on. It's not it's not sunny in the UK. Oh, sorry?
I'm like a spud. I always have a jacket on.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, Lando Norris, 5.491 was overall to Bottas, but he was 4.8 seconds inside Hamilton. At the last corner, it was 5.2 seconds. He got that brilliantly.
The fastest lap. They turned up the engine.
They did, yeah.
Admitted that, and they didn't tell him because he drives by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
And just like Lewis and just like Jensen used to, but they didn't tell him that they'd allowed the engine to be turned up, and so he had that little extra power, and he did a perfect lap, and he got fastest lap, and that led to the 0.2 of a second.
The difference, yeah. Yeah, try and say that. The 0.2 of a second gap that he had to Lewis, yeah, overall. It is, Hamilton goes fourth.
Good game in a minute.
What? Oh, yeah.
It's a good old scoreboard.
Yeah, we haven't got one. I need one. I was thinking about having one just here.
It was a joke.
I know, but I like having stuff in the middle. We were supposed to have an Austrian flag in between, but
unfortunately, he takes every joke literally.
It's not big enough, the gap over there. Right. Let's move away from Austria then. But it has, just one more thing, it has led to an interesting thing in the Constructors' Championship. It's Mercedes leading from McLaren, from Ferrari. And that could continue. Ferrari have brought upgrades this weekend. No. And McLaren looked quick.
Oh, the circumstances of the race gave Ferrari a podium.
For sure.
And the talent of their young driver.
Of Leclerc.
He drove the pants. He's just like Fernando used to in the McLaren when the McLaren was a dud, right? That Ferrari is a dud compared to a proper Ferrari.
Let's hope that they bring the upgrades this weekend.
They need to get it sorted fast.
They've brought minor upgrades this weekend.
Another thing Rob Smedley was saying was the performance levels, right, of the Renault-based and the Mercedes-based teams on year from the Austrian Grand Prix last year. Like Racing Point are 10% up, and Ferrari are 6-7% down.
I wonder why that is.
And they above them is all the different Ferrari-based teams. Now he said that that's not necessarily something to do with the engine or the chassis. It's just the combination ain't working.
I wonder why that is though, because of all that mysterious engine development they had.
We're not allowed to say that.
Oh, we are now. We are
no,
now. They've released. Oh, we're not allowed to say that much, but it's mysterious. We can say.
What, the fact that
they were quick and now they're not? Yeah.
They were getting podiums. They were challenging for wins, right? And then all of a sudden, the FIA came back with their opinion on what their oil burning, and all of a sudden
they're slow.
Lost the edge.
Yeah.
But to be honest, right? Say last weekend, where Red Bull little thing about the system with the wheels going in and out.
Yeah.
Say if that
when Red Bull protested the Mercedes DAS system.
Say if that protest has been upheld, right?
Well,
it would seriously damage the performance that weekend and afterwards until they sorted it out of the Merc. Now that's what happened last year. They were told you can't use this anymore. You shouldn't have been using it in the first place. But you push the regulations to the absolute limit.
That's what Formula One's about, really.
Because there was no penalty involved in points. It has to be to the limit and without going over. And so if you do that to any team, it's going to really affect their performance. I mean, look at the fact, what engine is inside the Williams?
Mercedes.
Where are all the other Mercedes engine cars?
Perez finished, if I look, 6th.
George was doing well. I'm
The
just talking
TF11s.
about over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They've had a Merc engine in there.
Oh, they've been at the back. They finished last in the
Yeah,
Constructors'
because they
Championship
got
every year.
something wrong in
Yeah.
the air tunnel, right? And so you get this situation, don't you? That
The engine sort of,
the engines,
it's not the bigger
you've
thing.
got to have the combination of the two, engine and chassis, to work. McLaren proved
Yeah.
by when Honda left that their engine, the Honda engine, didn't work in the McLaren chassis, although it worked in the Red Bull.
And it doesn't work. And then the Renault engine does work better.
I know
in McLaren
they were
chassis, yeah.
improving in the last couple of
Oh
races.
yeah, they were improving, but it was nowhere near.
No, but
What the Red Bull's
it was
got.
clearly that you've got to get the right setup, right? You've got a Merc engine in a Williams, and it's not performing. So it's got to be. It's a delicate situation, and you've got to get the two together.
Let's hope they can over the weekend. Right. Well, I've just
And
stop.
I think
Yeah, go-
Ferrari's problem isn't their aerodynamics.
No, it's definitely not aerodynamic. We'll
No, it's
hopefully
nothing
see
to do
that.
with chocolate bars. Aerodynamics.
Oh, I miss heroes. Right, let's have a look then
Why, they're
this
still on
weekend.
sale?
I know, but I miss getting them. I haven't for a while.
I missed an aero once.
Did you?
Yeah, your mum threw it.
Very funny. Well, it's the same track as it was last week, but let's show you around the Red Bull Ring now with Lap Attack.
Don't you agree? What?
Yes?
Don't you agree that going around the Red Bull ring, it's stimulating? Get it? Red Bull, stimulating.
Gives you wings?
Oh, it does all sorts.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. 4.318 kilometres, 10 corners, 3 DRS zones and 2 detection points and a speed trap on the way down towards turn 4. 10 corners, elevation changes high at turn 3. On board then with the Red Bull of 2019, as you come into the back half of the section, this is where you start your lap, a small downhill section full opposite log, blast up the hill, open up the DRS and hurtle uphill towards turn 1, starting the lap 8th gear flat out. Usually you're at full pace as you brake down 4th gear, flip the car to the right, uphill counter the oversteer. Now there's a long drag and a little kink is officially called turn 2 before you head up the hill towards turn 3 of Rima's 8th gear, brake down all the way down to 2nd gear, tight right, full opposite lock, counter the oversteer and you back down the hill. DRS open towards Sochler's Gold at turn 4. It's a downhill braking zone, so you've got gravity on your side. You hit the brakes down to 4th gear. Carry the car in on the half-banked section, get the power on early at the exit and drift round turn 5. 6 and 7 is next as you pass the famous Bull that's alongside the other half of the track. No fans in attendance, but you're blasting through this section and it's always a treat to see. It almost feels like a go-kart track as you're up 7th gear, up over the crest towards Lauda and Rindt in turns 9 and 10. Brake slightly, 5th gear, carry the car towards the exit, little dip into turn 10, get the power on, ride the curb, open up the DRS, so you complete a lap at the Red Bull Ring. A tricky but demanding circuit, and one that certainly tests the drivers. And a stellar circuit this Red Bull Ring really is, and we race here for the second time.
I think
Hopefully
it's
it'll be
a
a better
load of
race. What's that? Alex Albon?
I think it's a load of bull.
Oh, very funny. The giant bull, that's at turn 8
It's
and
going
9.
rusty, you know.
It has, yeah. I was
I
really
noticed that.
disappointed.
Yeah, because maybe it's because of the lockdown. You can't. You
can't
paint
Clean and
it.
paint, yeah. Right, let's give you some weekend information coming out here from Thursday. Robert Kubica.
To be honest,
Go on.
right. Max wasn't doing out after a certain bit last weekend.
Yeah, you could have gone and painted
He
it.
could have gone and painted it.
That would have certainly been a scene,
Give
wouldn't
him
it?
a brush.
I would have loved to have seen that. Red Bull maintenance. Right, yeah, Robert Kubica is in this weekend's first practice session for Alfa Romeo, replacing Antonio Giovinazzi. Jack Aitken is in the car for Williams. He's replacing George Russell in the first practice, both making debuts for the team. It's Aitken's first free practice run out. As we've already said, Ferrari have brought some of the upgrades to this circuit that they were expected next week at Red Bull.
I hope Jack.
Yep.
I hope Jack takes this and by the balls or by the horns.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that like young Georgie Russell, right? He gets into the technical side of things, and like Valtteri did, and
he's a very good driver.
Yeah, he thinks about everything. You know, he's a very good driver because of the fact that he puts effort into his homework before the race, right? Because he hasn't got the natural ability that some of the others have got, and that might come in time. It might become instinct. Instinct when he was a younger driver.
He had a great
young. He was very good at instinct, but he had a great race last weekend. He does go into things in really minute detail, a bit like Georgie Russell. They're friends after.
Yeah, they are. Both Brit as well. Good weather is expected during Friday practice and Sunday's race. However, a massive thunderstorm is predicted for Saturday that could disrupt free practice 3 and qualifying. So we could have an interesting qualifying.
The rain in Austria falls mainly on the bulk. That's why it was rusty.
You've been practicing that, or that was just off the cuff?
I just thought that up.
Oh, very nice.
It was off the cuff.
Very nicely done.
I don't write anything on my cuffs.
I haven't got any. Countermeasures being put in for Red Bull and AlphaTauri after what happened last weekend. So it's not engine related, but it was electrical issues.
AlphaTauri
that affected them.
AlphaTauri scored points.
Yeah, they're now ahead of them.
And
Red Bull.
they are the junior team of Red Bull who scored nothing.
Yeah, they're exactly 6 points difference between the two. Right.
Christian had one of those weekends, and I'm sorry I had to go at Christian last weekend.
I think everybody was having to go at Christian last weekend.
I wasn't fully in dealing with the facts, and I should have been. Right? He did challenge it a second time, but the reason he challenged it a second time was that on the morning
of the
FIA,
race,
after they look at the cars in Parc Fermé, there's a camera that is just before the nose cone, and it's a 360 camera, and they took it off and downloaded the usually doesn't get downloaded. It's not available on the world feed or anywhere else. Right, it's just the FIA's own little 360 camera.
They put it on for motion experience.
And that showed that the light was on
yellow. Yeah.
But whether it was humanly possible to react to the light coming on,
I don't think it was.
Because the 360 camera showed the light was behind him.
Yeah, and they had a green flag just opposite as well.
So that's why he challenged it twice.
I'm not surprised, but either way, it's a fight. 3-place grid penalty as well.
Liuzzi was the driver's steward.
Liuzzi.
That's him.
That's interesting.
That's him.
That is interesting.
That is interesting.
Liuzzi had quite a lot of penalties in Formula 1 career for the similar matters, actually, not speeding under yellow flags and safety cars. Right, let's give you the coverage details.
Yeah, well, surely, in the incident with Alex Albon and
you've reminded me. Yeah, go on.
Liuzzi has it's turn 4 on it.
Yep.
Right? Liuzzi knows that turn has a situation where the outer car has a problem of keeping itself on the track because of the G-force. Right? He knows that. So why is it Lewis got penalised for what was everybody else is saying a 50-50 racing incident?
What happened on lap 1?
Well, yes. Yes, on lap.
I said it in the commentary.
On lap 1, it was reversed.
Albon hit Lewis.
Albon hit Lewis.
At exactly
the same point.
Yeah.
And it's one rule for one and one rule for another.
It was that Albon came off worse on the second way round.
Is it the fact that you've got to be more consistent with throughout the race? It's the same in football.
Yeah.
Right. It happened in the Chelsea match recently, whereas the opposition were allowed to score because of the fact a decision was made by the referee. And Liuzzi, or whatever he's called.
Liuzzi. Same pronunciation.
Liuzzi. I'm trying to do an Italian accent. Liuzzi.
I can't do it.
I sound more Russian than
you did there, yeah. But yeah, I agree that it was a situation
and that was it.
That could have
that was it. Yeah. Because of the situation with turn 4, Albon was rushing
very good.
round the corner.
And
because he was on soft.
Yeah, and he was on the outside. He was on soft,
which is faster.
And
right?
If he hadn't done that, he would have crashed into the back.
And what does faster mean when you're going into a corner?
More careless.
less grip.
Less grip, yeah. And he did slide
Yeah.
off. Hamilton had a little bit of understeer moment into it.
Yeah,
Looking back at it, it's a 50-50.
Look at it frame for frame. Lewis only moved his steering wheel when his rear wheel got hit.
Yeah, I know. From off-board, it looks a different situation. It's something that is... on the telemetry, you can see that Hamilton was just feathering the throttle.
It's like...
Yeah.
Formula One is getting too much like VAR in football.
Yeah, I'm getting a little...
Yeah, so what if it proves that he was 1 millimetre offside and the goal is disallowed? Right?
Nobody cares if Lewis is a little bit over the line with Albon.
The referees, the linesmen are human being assistant referees.
Yeah.
Right? I'd say that because my nephew's an assistant referee in Scotland. Hi, Chris. Anyway.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
New baby.
Baby girl. Freya.
Lovely. She's absolutely lovely. Congratulations to you both.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Tiny. Anyway,
yeah, go on.
A big brother holding it. It's nice. Anyway, yeah, it's got to be the situation where you consistently make consistent
decisions, yeah.
interpretation of the rules, not it's lap 1 so that don't count.
That's the thing. They did say that, didn't they? They literally said lap 1, we're just going to wipe everything off, apart from jump starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We'll have to wrap it up there.
Apart from jump starts.
Jump starts, yeah.
Valtteri.
Oh,
right,
human reaction. God.
Valtteri's reactions and the starts that Valtteri makes. Right. He guesses.
He confused me so much, actually, because in the commentary box, when the lights went out...
And he guesses perfectly.
He confused me because...
Well done, Valtteri. Good weekend.
Valtteri got away so well off the start this weekend, or last weekend. But it confused me because I was looking at a different monitor for the start that was showing me the whole grid. And I saw Vettel make a brilliant start, lost it in the second phase.
Did Valtteri say something about the fact that he counts to 3 and goes?
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, go.
Go. 1, 2, 3, go.
You noticed something about the lights, though.
The lights on every single support race and the main race went out almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, there was no gap.
That's why I said to you on Sunday when we were watching F2.
In the F2, race 2, it caught 3 out the top 6 out.
Everybody got caught out.
And,
they were just
off. That can be...
Yeah, dangerous.
Dangerous in Formula 3 and 2.
I think they have adjusted it this weekend so that the lights got a little bit
drivers
later.
are not driving like maniacs anymore.
No, that's a bit disappointing because it was a great race. F2 were driving like maniacs.
Maniacs and safe, I agree with. That's what racing's about.
Yeah.
It's nice. Maniacs who don't take any notice of the things around them. That's where it's bad. But F3 was always the one which was more exciting than any of the other categories.
I've got a beep in my ear telling me that we're nearly time.
Okay, yeah, I remember a certain person driving over the fencing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Adam Cowell. I think that was it at Manicourt.
Are we nearly ready?
Yes, right. We'll be back tomorrow for the Friday practice review as well. We're not sure if we're doing a live stream for free practice.
We might dust the cars before then.
Yeah, our lovely new graphic, our lovely new props here. We've got Ayrton's Senna's MP44, the first ever Formula 1 car, the Alfa Romeo 150. Then we got a Lego car, Ferrari, and a Ralph Schumacher Williams from 2000 over there. We'll have more props throughout the year.
Of course, the Michael's son and Ralph's son.
David. And
right.
Mick and
David.
Mick is Michael's, David is
Ralph's. I've been looked after by Ralph.
Yeah.
And they're in the F2 and F3.
And that is on tomorrow morning at 8:30 o'clock for the F3 practice session. We don't know if we're doing a live stream for free practice one, but thank you to 1,602 viewers so far who tuned in to our ramblings of the first practice session last weekend. It caught us all by surprise, didn't it?
Yes, ramblings. What do you mean? It's all scripted.
Well, that wasn't. It was a practice session.
My script was this high.
Oh, right, okay. You came in with a lot of notes. Megan just sat there and just stole my notes.
It's rambling.
It was lovely, though. I'm looking forward to that. We don't know if we're doing another one this weekend or not. We don't know if we're doing one this weekend or not. We'll get back to you on that. You are. Right, it's basically just us two all weekend. No Megan, so the commentary will be coming from me and Dad.
I walked 6 foot last week.
Did you? That's an improvement. What, to the commentary box and back?
Oh, no, I will there.
Okay. Right, let's give you the coverage sheet. We are back tomorrow for the Friday practice review.
Too far.
What? Saturday, we have the review between practice. Sunday, 2 shows as normal, the preview show and the race review. And then the Grand Review podcast, where we'll have highlights of qualifying and the race commentary as well. That'll be on Wednesday. And then we'll do it all again next week for Hungary when Megan returns with us.
We're going to be hungry next week.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hungry now.
I think about going to Budapest. I like that song.
Ooh.
I like that song.
I think I can see Budapest in the distance.
I think we'll have that.
No,
in
it's just a
corner.
Buddha.
We'll have that in the
We
corner.
have a Buddha in the garden.
It's lovely. It's a lovely studio setup this year. Right, thank you, Dad. We'll see you tomorrow for
Did
if
you
we do
notice
practice or not.
that Sky used their garden? up at
Yeah, they've
Isleworth?
used their Sky. I think they
Yeah.
nicked it from us. I think they nicked that idea. 2 men.
Does anybody nick
Check
anything
it
from us?
Uh,
Somebody nicked my joke last year. But it
someone
doesn't
did.
matter.
And yes, actually,
Alan
Crofty,
Carr.
I think, nicked my slogan, I say the lights. Because when the lights go
Whereas
out.
he would normally just nick your chocolate bar.
Yes, I say the lights out, action in whatever country we are at. And last year,
don't-
just before the lights went out, he went stand
don't
by
let
for action.
Rachel anywhere near your McDonald's.
Yeah, Rachel went for McDonald's actually on Saturday.
But she will drive. 'Cause
Yeah,
she
she's a
doesn't
good
trust
driver,
Johnny.
Right, we'll be back then tomorrow.
She
Thank you,
doesn't
Dad.
let Johnny drive.
No, she doesn't let Johnny drive. Nobody lets Johnny drive. They're not here this
Oh,
weekend.
did you see the milk?
Yes, with Lando Norris.
Lando and
yeah.
Carlos with the milk. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, you knew that Lando was just going to drive like that on purpose, just so it went
Everybody
all
knew.
over Sciencey.
Everybody knew. Right, thanks, Dad. You better get inside before we get told off for going on so long. Right, we'll be back tomorrow for the Friday practice view. Not sure if we'll do a live stream yet. Check out Twitter and Instagram at Joshua Birch 99. Use the hashtag JB Motorsports and subscribe and like below so you get all the notifications when we do go live as well. Thank you, Kellyanne, for sending me to say all that, by the way. She sent me a message a few days ago. Right, we'll be back tomorrow. From us all here, though, stay safe. Bye for now.
He's got to put the table back now.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.